Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. So a little more toward the reloading process side of things. Let's see. This is the focus. There it is. This is the Starline brass, the 6.5 Creedmoor small rifle primer brass. So I just went through and did the full length resize / deprime with the Hornady full length die that comes, I think it's in the custom die set, whatever that 2 die set is. So I just went through, I use Hornady one shot. Where's it at? Right here. This stuff, I've used this stuff for quite a while. Probably the past few years, actually. I've started using this. I've got that. I've also got, dig back here, I've also got some Redding Imperial sizing die wax. Really good stuff. Yeah, or whatever it is, Imperial, or if it's Redding or whoever it is. Sizing die wax. I've used that before. That's not bad. Pretty good stuff, but I've had really good luck. I know, some folks say, well, it doesn't really work that great on the Hornady one shot. They get stuck cases and all that. Knock on wood. I mean, I've only had, I think, literally maybe two or three stuck cases in the over 4 years I've been reloading. And I've used that stuff the majority of the time, so I've had pretty good luck with it. Works really well, but I just got done resizing everything. I set up the die to where we were bumping everything about 2/1000, 2.5, which is plenty. Oh, dang it. Let's see. Don't you love these unedited versions, unedited videos? Let's see, that looks pretty round. Well, that one little spot. Yeah, okay. Let's just run it back up into get the expander over it. There we go. Okay. All right, there we go. Now we're, all right. So that's one of the things I hate whenever you drop a piece of brass and you ding the case mouth. So from there, once I resize everything and kind of wipe off any excess lube, which once you spray that Hornady one shot on there, it says let it sit for a minute or so and then use it. And you can even load, like it even says that you can load your ammunition with that stuff on there. It will not impact the performance of the ammunition. Now, I don't really test that as far as the performance factor and cleaning it out and all that, whatever. I spray the stuff, I let it sit for a minute or so, a couple minutes, then I run it through the full length resizing die, and then from there, I mean, it feels pretty dry, and from there I come over here to the Lyman Case Prep Express, get this guy turned on. You can see I've already been doing a ton of work on the chamfer deburr. That was with a bunch of new brass. So this is the small rifle. So you're just going to want to find that small rifle primer pocket cleaner. And that one's pretty well worn down, but does a good enough job. And from there, just a quick chamfer, deburr, and then hit the brush on the inside of the case mouth and the neck. And look at that. She's ready for primer, powder, bullet. I don't clean my cases after every firing. I mean, I clean them when I get a wild hair, which I don't have a whole lot of hair, so I don't clean them all the time. That's just a step that I get it. For the reloading purist, they'll probably exile me for saying that, but it's like I'm just not one of those guys. Sorry, I'm not one of the people where it's like, okay, I go in and fire the brass, well now I got to go clean the brass, otherwise it's going to degrade the performance of my reloads. I've never noticed enough to even care, to be honest with you. I mean, do I like brand new shiny brass? Sure. Do I want to go through the process of cleaning it all up if it's not going to make a bit of difference in my results? Yeah, not really. So that's kind of where I stand on it, which again, I'll probably get comments about how that's wrong and I need to go learn how to reload properly and all that. But to each his own. I'll keep making my ammo. I'll keep killing deer. I'll keep shooting small groups with friggin' hunting loads off a set of bags. I'll keep doing that, and I'll just call it a day. That, again, I'm not running off to any competitions anytime soon. This stuff just has to perform on a deer at a certain distance. And so far, my loads have checked out multiple times. They have performed well multiple times on multiple deer. So one shot, one kill every time, and over a range of cartridges also. I mean, from 280 to 308 to 223 to 6.5 Grendel. The performance has always been there. So there we go. But I'll go through this process. There's the first 5. It is tedious and time consuming. Reloading, that's just a product of reloading. But that's part of it I kind of like. I mean, it does take a while to process. And I work in batches, typically batches of 50, whatever fits in a reloading block, which is 50. That's normally, I'll process in batches of 50. And it takes a little while to do that, to get all 50, sized, run through this, measure everything. I had to measure everything after I sized it, measured the headspace, and I measured the overall length to make sure we're still good to go. The max overall length on your case for a 6.5 Creedmoor is 1 point. Let's double check, because on some of my videos people freak out about this. If I might misspeak there, so you guys can see it yourself. It's 1.920. All right, that's the maximum. You want to trim it down to 1.910. All right, a lot of these are barely over 1.91. So yeah, so just running along here, getting some of this stuff processed, getting it cleaned up as far as the primer pockets go. So pretty good looking once fired brass. But yeah, I'll go through this process, get them all cleaned up, then I'll prime all 50, and then from there I'll try to determine, hey, what's my next load combination going to be, which I think I've settled on it. I think I'm going to do the Nosler, the 125 grain partitions. I believe we're going to go with that as our next 6.5 Creedmoor endeavor, which we go from the 160 down to the 125. So you go from the heaviest, basically the heaviest 6.5 Creedmoor option down to not the lightest, because there's some stuff lighter than that, some varmint type load stuff, but the 120 is as low as I'd want to go, because again, at that point, just go grab a 6.5 Grendel. I mean, I'm going to test the 120 grain projectiles in 6.5 Creedmoor, but the whole point of having this Creedmoor, in my opinion, is to be able to shoot those heavy for caliber projectiles, right? You can shoot a 160 grain projectile in 6.5 Creedmoor. Now, I believe there's some load data floating around out there for like 156 grain projectiles for 6.5 Grendel and all. Hey, by all means, you want to do that, have at it. But it's just the Creedmoor is a better option, more velocity if you're going to be shooting the heavier loads. But again, all depends on your preference and how far you're shooting, and maybe you're only shooting 100 yards and shooting heavy projectiles out of the Grendel is perfectly fine. But then you'll get somebody going, oh, I want to shoot, the the 156 grain out of the 6.5 Grendel out to 600 yards. All right, we'll have at it. Sure, it'll still perform to some level out to that distance, but there's better options available. So that's just my 2 cents. You ain't gotta listen to me. You do whatever you want to. But the Grendel, it is sweet to have that in an AR platform, AR-15 platform, not the AR-10. That is pretty sweet. That is a sweet combination, man. I really like the Grendel. My brother got me into it, and man, I'm really glad I picked one of those up, because that is just a fun gun to shoot. I'd pick that over the AR, your standard AR, your 5.56 AR-15. I'd pick that every day and twice on Sunday over that guy. It's just so much fun to shoot. Recoil is just like the 5.56. I mean, there's almost no difference. Very little difference that I can tell. Just a lot of fun to shoot. And speaking of the Grendel, even though this is a 6.5 Creedmoor video, have you guys noticed in the Sierra manual? This is just weird. Maybe it's just me. But you got this write-up by this guy. I guess it's this guy. I don't know. Sitting here talking about, how awesome the 6.5 Grendel is, and oh man, it's so great. And I love hand loading for the CZ. Where's it at? Yeah, the CZ 527. Such a cool firearm. Man, it performs great. Look at this. I hand loaded a dozen powders in the Grendel. It talks about some of them on the slow end, blah, 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 CFE. Ramshot tack is a good choice for high speeds with lighter bullets and is close behind the CFE 223 for heavier bullets. Tack has provided the best accuracy with bullet weights across the board. Okay. All right, so keep that in mind. Remember that sentence. It has provided the best accuracy with all of the weights across the board, so the full spectrum of the bullet weights. All right, I'll wait for you guys to raise your hand. Tell me where Ramshot tack is on their powder list. Okay, so it provided the best accuracy. So I'm waiting. Here, you guys point it out to me. All right, I'm going to need people to participate. Comment below. Tell me when you see Ramshot tack. Guess what? It's not freaking in here. How do you have a write-up on the caliber here? So these are the 120s. Now we're up to the 123s. I'm still waiting. Somebody raise their hand, let me know. Now we're up to the 130s. Anybody? Anybody? They don't even have it listed as a powder option. Like, what the hell is that, Sierra? So you're going to sit here and you're going to have your little write-up. Somebody, some manager somewhere, right? I mean, they had to approve the write-up. They had to proofread it. They had to go, oh, man, that looks great. Yep, let's include that. And you don't even have the powder listed as an option. Look at this. Last fall, I loaded the Grendel with Sierra 120 grain Pro Hunter, which is what I have over on the shelf, and tack. That's what he loaded it with. And his son went and killed a freaking deer. Like, look at that. I mean, that's all it talks about. I mainly shoot 120 and 123s. Loaded with a near max amount of tack. I mean, that's literally the write-up. That's the bulk of the write-up, is how awesome that projectile shoots with Ramshot tack. But they ain't got the daggone powder listed. Like, I mean, come on, guys. Now, that's their newest manual, and they very well could have some load data on their website. That's their latest and greatest manual. I'm talking about the one they just released. All right. So they may have load data on their website. They may even have it on the app. But how in the world can you go to printing that thing and the whole write-up is... So I'm sitting there going, oh, man, we're going to have some Ramshot tack loads. This is great. That's the best accuracy that you guys saw. Man, that's awesome. And then a big letdown. It's like the freaking Democratic debate. Just a big letdown. And I'm not... I won't even go there. I won't even talk about low expectations. Good night. I'll just say Trump 2020. Whatever. Just roll with that. That'll probably get some folks fired up. But, yeah, I don't understand that. How Sierra can pull that one off. You don't even have what you claim to be the best accuracy powder across the entire bullet weight spectrum for the Grendel. You don't even have that powder as listed as an option. That's beyond me. But there you go. This is the process, guys. After this, I'll literally just prime them with these guys, some small rifle match, and then they'll be ready for powder and the bullet. I've already measured all of them. They're well within spec. So yeah, that's it. That's kind of the brass prep process with once fired stuff. I know with brand new stuff, I just run it up through the size and die just enough to where that expander can kind of go in and out of the case neck and mouth and make sure everything's uniform. But with once fired stuff, it's the full length resize. Measure everything, clean out the primer pocket, chamfer, deburr, brush, and then primer, powder, bullet. There you go, guys. All right. Hope y'all have a good one. I'll talk to y'all next time.